I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Bridge, or Councilor Olson, I'm sorry. Councilor Bridge, Councilor Bender, Councilor Stanberg, Councilor McDonald, Councilor Joyle, Councilor Finsland, Councilor Herrick,
Here.
Councilor McKenzie, and Councilor Brown.
And just before we start, I'm going to retain my my right to partake of discussion and to vote. Thank you.
Item number 4 is the approval of the minutes from the August 24th regular council meeting. August 21st regular council meeting. Yeah.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 6 is a consent agenda, and you have out before you tonight an addition by Councilor Finsland requesting consideration of the construction of retention ponds or other protective methods to control flooding in the area of the city affected by Faxon Creek, and this is a referral to the Public Works Committee.
Move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 7.1, City Attorney Prowl, Finance Director Vito, and Planning Director Cirque are recommending final purchase from Richard and Cynthia Larson of private improvements in the amount of $185,000, consistent with the terms of the now terminated 1981 lease agreement relevant to the lease and management of the Nemadji Mobile Home Park.
Here, motion, a second, discussion. Councilor Bridge?
Just wondered if we might get a brief synopsis of what we're buying.
Well, a whole host of things. As you know, October of last year represented the natural end or termination of what had been a very long lease agreement and management tenure by the Larsons with the Nemadji Mobile Home Park. I think they began their management at that park exactly 30 years prior to the expiration of the lease in October. And the operative language in that lease allowed the Larsons as managers and occupants to pursue private improvements to the park at their discretion. And furthermore, the lease provided for an opportunity by the city, once the lease terminated, to either pursue a purchase of those private improvements, or alternatively to allow them a rather short period of time in the overall scheme of things to remove the private improvements. The private improvements, from when Brad and I went out there and actually walked the property and looked at it, ended up being significant and of the sort that you wouldn't necessarily be interested in seeing leaving if the mindset of the city was to continue to manage it for any period of time as a park, as a mobile home park. So those improvements, those private improvements, included a number of garages, sheds where equipment is stored, actual pads, concrete and blacktop, used for pads for temporary or recreational equipment, as well as more permanent structures, mechanical systems, plumbing, sewer, dump stations, electrical system. Picnic tables were in there. I'm not sure if they were actually line item as one of the things that were considered as part of the package. But just about everything that any of you have seen as you've been out there, absent the mobile homes themselves, were things that have over the last 30 years taken shape. So a resolution of the sort that's before you right now gives the city, obviously in exchange for that price tag, full control, access, and ownership of all the things that you see out there, and above and below grade for that matter.
Go ahead, Councilor Brown.
It seemed like when when we were discussing that, when it first came about, was that a lot of that work was done without permits or permission of the city. Was that written so loosely that they were allowed to do things like that? And is the new party operating under the same kind of lease agreement, or
Well, let me just first say,
so we don't run into that again?
we certainly never expect people to manage property, whether it's city property or their own property, in such a manner that is not consistent with code compliance, with our ordinance requirements. So, no, we don't encourage people to deviate from lawful practices when they manage properties, alter properties, improve properties. If you have a personality that's inclined to do that, and I'm not suggesting that that's what happened here necessarily, but if you have that inclination, as we've all seen, particularly building inspection, that's hard to control in a city of this size. The second part of your question, I think, is do we have a better sense for how that's going under the new management regime? Bashan Group, of course, is the outfit that's managing the mobile home park right now. And I don't have a lot of daily contact with those folks. I know Brad has some more and certainly has some experience with how they manage properties generally, and this one in particular. And it's my impression that they're doing a very solid job of tending to the details that we expect to be getting attention out there, both in terms of quality of life out there and aesthetics. How many people are putting up a roof right now without us knowing about it, without having taken the permit? I wouldn't even know how to speculate as to that.
Yeah, but they're not working for us.
Okay. Councilor Olson?
Do we have any plans for this facility now that we own it? Or are we going to go status quo with the sort of agreement that we had to try and keep those folks in that residence, and or is it us or Bashan Group that would?
Right now, this park is being managed as a mobile home park, much like it has been for the last 30 years. And if there is any design to change that in the near future, I'm not familiar with it. No one's being asked to leave, that's for certain.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 7.2, Planning Director Cirque is requesting to enter into a donation agreement with Wells Fargo Bank for a vacant parcel of land located at 1219 North 13th Street.
Discussion? Mick?
Yeah, Jason, I know what your ultimate goal is here, but, maybe the public doesn't. Could you explain it a little bit?
Sure. Thanks, Mick and councilors. We have kind of gradually been moving. Back earlier this year, we took down, through raise orders, 5 brown homes on the northeast corner of Coming End, 13th Street. Through donation processes, 3 of the properties, I think, were in form of bankruptcy or foreclosure. This is the 3rd one that we've been able to take. So we have 19, 21, and 23 so far. The other 2 parties are privately owned, and I think in the next couple of weeks I'll probably be working with Frog to send them a letter to talk to them a little bit about donating as well, and see how far that goes, and kind of go from that realm. That property is a developable piece of property. It would be a nice site for a single-family home of some sort, and so that's kind of our ultimate goal, Mickey, is to get that to development eventually. So these donation agreements, we've done probably a handful of them over the last year or so. Banks have been kind of doing this. They tend to want to donate with houses on it too, which sometimes we have to look at from what are the characteristics of the land and the like, and a lot of them we say no, we don't want to, but some of them we have to take a second look at. So that's kind of what we're up to.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes.
Item 9.1, Council Vice President McKenzie is requesting reconsideration of the vote taken at the August 21st regular council meeting. Item 7.1, Finance Director Vito submitting updated 2012 and 2013 general fund budgets. This was a motion to approve. And Councilor McKenzie is also requesting the discussion be referred to the September 18th Committee of the Whole meeting to allow the mayor to be present.
Discussion? Nick?
Yeah. The reason I'm bringing this back for reconsideration is I know last meeting we have had some significant concerns by two councilors, Bridge and Olson. Since then, I think there's been a lot more questions along those lines and more. I really think this deserves more discussion before a public hearing. It certainly can't hurt. I just think that we owe that to the taxpayers, so that's why I'm bringing this back for reconsideration.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any not in favor? Motion passes.
We also have to make a motion, do we, to refer this to the next meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Mayor.
Item 10.1 is a resolution introduced by the Planning Department setting a public hearing October 16th at 6:30 p.m. in the Government Center for the 2013 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan.
Discussion? Nick?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
11.1 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee amending the traffic code, no parking on odd-numbered side of the street by adding Weeks Avenue between North 6th and 7th Streets.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
11.2 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee amending the traffic code, no parking on the even-numbered side of the street by adding Clough Avenue between North 6th and 7th Streets.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
11.3 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee amending the traffic code, streets excluded from calendar parking by adding North 6th Street between Clough and Weeks Avenues and North 7th Street between Clough and Weeks Avenues.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
11.4 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee amending the traffic code, one- and two-way stops by adding Oaks Avenue, the following stop at North 23rd Street, and Oaks Avenue, the following stop at North 24th Street.
Motion. Go ahead. Okay. We got a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
We do have one person sign up for business by public.
Russell Werman, please come forward. Yeah, if you can press the button on your microphone there, please, and go until the red light comes on. Thank you. And could you state your name and address, please?
My name is Russell Wehrman. My current official address is Box 51, Superior, Wisconsin. I have a post office box in the main post office.
Could the gentleman turn his mic on, please?
Oh, it was on. Then raise it up for him. Oh, there he goes. Okay.
Oh, I see.
You can maybe begin.
Oh, okay. What I'd like to speak about is parking ticket contest process within the city of Superior. Regarding my experience, the ticket was received while parked on the east side of the street facing north on a Monday morning. I then drove to 6th Street and Weeks Avenue, parked on the east side of the street facing north for the remainder of the week with flow of other parked cars, and did not receive another parking ticket. I called ticket to contest number and scheduled administrative review for August 22nd, 8:10 a.m. At review, I did not receive adequate explanation for why ticket was given. Response I was presented was an alternate parking side schedule and told to learn it. At close of review, was told hearing for ticket would be scheduled and received a notice of hearing for which I signed. As I was upset, I did not check the date on the notice when I signed it, was simply glad I had a hearing date. Later that day, I checked what the date was and discovered it was 5 hours after the review on the same day, and I had missed. When I went to contest the hearing schedule, was told this is where to complain about the process at this meeting. In my opinion, this process is not legal. I do not know how a court hearing can be scheduled on the same day when the defendant is not verbally notified of the scheduling on that same day. I also question when court hearing time was scheduled. If earlier than the review, should not I have been informed the administrative review would really not be a review but a pretrial conference. Those are my main two objections to Superior's contest to parking ticket process. I am also concerned about a technical aspect of the ticket in that I maintain the ticket was defaced when written, which in my eyes makes it invalid. The body style for the vehicle, as it is listed on the ticket, was marked over when I saw it. So that's what I have to say.
Any comments? Mick?
I didn't catch, why did you get, what was the parking ticket for? Calendar parking or?
Alternate side parking, yes.
Okay.
I have an extra copy if you want me to leave what I just said.
Yeah, go ahead. Councilor Brown?
No, I was just wondering if the chief wanted to respond to him at all.
I wasn't involved in the process, so I'm not familiar on the basis of what you got the citation for. I haven't seen your citation. Calendar parking is one of those issues that is enforced year-round, sometimes difficult to know what side you should park on, and we get a lot of complaints where somebody says, I thought I parked right, and I got a ticket. And I'm sympathetic to your problem. I don't know why the date was the same and can't comment on that.
Yeah, my main issue, as I elaborated in what I wrote down, is with the legal process involved, much more so than the actual ticket received.
The ticket, the parking tickets all have information pre-prepared and typed onto the ticket itself. It addresses concerns such as how to resolve it if you want to pay it, the options of payment that are available to the payee, be it by mail, online, or by telephone with a credit card option. Also contained within the ticket information is the phone number to Citation Management, which is the company that we have long done business with in terms of managing and tracking these parking tickets. So that was the process that Mr. Wehrman obviously availed himself of to contest the ticket. And he did speak with me. I think he shared a date with you, I don't recall, in the last several weeks. And he did indicate his frustration with me in terms of having moved the vehicle at one point and parked on the same side of the street, not getting a second ticket, somewhat baffled by that. Also expressed or was convinced at least that others that had parked similarly had not also been cited. That, of course, is an impossibility for me to verify. Oftentimes people get their tickets in waves as the officers working one particular area of the city or one block or whatever. How one motor vehicle owner would know whether or not someone else has been ticketed, I couldn't fathom how that plays out. And then I think the other component was the later proceedings scheduled for the same day. For the last 2+ years, ever since Judge Tim was sworn as into Branch 1 as one of our circuit court judges, he has always scheduled with the city status conferences which come after a pretrial if a city ordinance ticket is issued and contested. We set the ordinance pretrials on the morning of a particular day. Tomorrow's an example. We have pretrials tomorrow morning. We'll also then set those status conferences for later that afternoon. So whatever charges aren't resolved in the morning at the pretrial conferences, they come before the court for further consideration, mostly in the context of scheduling. And I know it's probably more information than you're looking for. I'm just sharing with you what the process is generally. And it sounds like Mr. Wehrman, well, I know Mr. Wehrman was there for the pretrial with me, one of the first steps in contesting the parking citation. For whatever reason, as indicated, I guess earlier, didn't read the notice for the next step of the process, which would have been a status conference that day. And when people don't show up in court at a status conference or whatever the conference is named, that's typically how that goes. They're defaulted.
Councilor Olson?
Frog, are they, at the pretrial conference in the morning, they given a physical piece of paper saying that they should be back in the afternoon?
Yep, with time and a date and the room and such.
Oh, okay. And is there an appeal process after this in the case of what particularly happened here, or not that you know of?
I think you'd always petition the court, but I mean, I've never seen that in a parking ticket matter.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah. Go ahead, Councilor Brown.
Yeah, it just seems like that 5 hour is an awful short notice, and I know I think if I got a ticket, you're usually frustrated at getting a ticket, and you never think that you have to pay it, have to appear someplace the same day. It seems like that it should either be in very bold letters or something, so it wouldn't be missed, or
the date is stated clearly on the notice. I can't tell you what the font size is. I can tell you that when you take a matter like a parking ticket or a speeding ticket or a dog at large ticket, and a person is contesting that ticket and they find out they have a pretrial on August the 26th, and it remains resolved after that date, and then they realize there's a status conference set for that same matter on September 15th, and you can't take evidence at the status conference because that's merely an opportunity to compare schedules and lock into a hearing date for a final resolution. And then at that time, final hearing date is set for maybe into October or November. It's been my experience that people find contesting a parking ticket over a span of 3 months, over portions of 3 different days, to be much more frustrating than an opportunity to go in and be heard twice in one day. And I think that's partly why the court has seen fit to set it up that way. If you get your speeding ticket that you're wondering about tonight when you go home from this meeting, and you contest that, at least in the city of Superior, you'd actually see built into your pretrial conference a notice much like the one Mr. Wehrman had that will give you the same date for a status conference some hours after the pretrial. It's been that way for years.
Councilor McKenzie?
Yeah, I think probably what he wants to know now is, does he have any other recourse? Is he dead in the water now, or could he get another hearing because he honestly missed it?
Right, no.
Go ahead.
My issue with the legal process is the legal language used that I was informed of during the process. On the ticket itself, it states it's an administrative review meeting. Nowhere during that whole meeting, until I actually signed a piece of paper that said notice of hearing, was I informed there was even the possibility of the court hearing had been scheduled or was going to be scheduled. So I do not see legally where the meeting can even be classified as anything pre-trial of any sort. It's only a review meeting. That's all that was said, and nobody ever advised me that it was anything more than that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wehrman. All in favor? Aye.